64 boy.
Scratch.
Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and adjust the culture, huh? Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall, and this is Address the Culture. And we back with another exciting show now. We got a special guest in the building now. We talk about living legends, icons, somebody who has touched every aspect in the culture in a major way. We talk about everything you can think of from media, marketing, productions, music executive, tapping into the culture, you name it, this person has done it. You know what I'm saying? We got the one. We got the only. We got pstock in the building. Welcome to Address the Culture.
Hey, welcome, Big Wall. Address the culture, man. That's great. That's what we do. In the hip hop community, we address the culture, man. I don't know what to say after being introduced. Like after that intro, bro, I think you took it out of here with that one. But hey, that's what we do, and that's a part of why we do what we do. And for the culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was looking and I didn't notice there's an event, and I don't know if anybody knows there's an event coming up on October the 8th at the pop-up hip hop museum in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Where they're honoring Rakim and a couple others, pioneers, Kumo D, and everything in there. And I said, wow, that's huge. When you talk about the hip hop culture, like we do, we get into a lot, you do and iHipHopTV, but it's it transcends a whole lot to the point that there's hip hop museums, up and down the East Coast. I think, there's like 4 or 5 that they recognize, but I'm telling you, I know that's like Michael Jackson museums that they're in a lot of people's back rooms. You go in the back room.
It's legendary. Legendary. You know what I mean? And when you speak about legends, you kind of fit the bill, man. That intro is well deserved. Like, let's be honest. We both know it's no flowers in this game. It's hard to reach certain heights in the culture. You know what I mean? So somebody and in your position in the culture, hearing your story and where you come from and how you was able to maintain at such a high level, I think is motivational for the culture, and I appreciate you coming through to address it, brother.
Yeah, it's big, man. These platforms is big because we appreciate trying to get information to the culture and keeping people in tune to the culture. You talk about the background. I started out playing music. My dad played music. He played with Count Basie and a couple others, as a young teenager. And he put instilled music into us. And that's where we took it. We took it to that level that, this is, we all, my brothers and I, and not only that, his brother's children, jazz, every aspect of music, everybody's there and something, doing something, even to this day, big shout out to Dolo Money. That's my cousin, so, everybody's doing everything, but, and it's sad. And that's why we try to keep the culture. And I try to stress, like when I came up, I had the opportunity to play instruments because they had instruments in schools, in the public schools. So you go, that was the most exciting part of the year when they assign you your instrument. You taking that thing home, boy, every day. Every day you carry. My man Marty used to play the bass fiddle, so it was no joke. He was carrying that bass fiddle every day. But that was the camaraderie of things. That's what built people and got us into forming our own groups and bands after that. And then, I was fortunate enough to come in and be born in the era, prior to hip hop,
Yeah.
and then to take it into hip hop where we was already doing music stuff in the music, in the scene, in the culture of music, as well as, taking it to the when Sugar Hill dropped. That was
Yeah.
it. Everybody became DJs and MCs after
Look,
that.
it's legendary. Like, I mean, that changed the whole course of the culture. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, they
Yes,
didn't
it
even
did.
think that hip hop was gonna be around this long. If you could take a time machine and go back, they
No.
looked at hip hop like it was a fad. They wouldn't believe the heights that hip hop has touched. It's global now. You know what I mean? So being around that time, I know to see where it started and to
Yeah.
where it's elevated for you, just as a person who I know keeps his eye on the coach and stay tapped in. I know it's amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing with the production and
yeah.
the music, And if people don't know, Big Wall got some out of this world music too now. Don't sleep on the boss, man. Don't sleep, you know. So definitely hit that up. But yeah, and that's what we did. We evolved from playing instruments into DJing. And then from DJing, we took it, into the drum machines, and cats was beatboxing and everything, and we was doing things. So I was able to tap into all of that and that's store it up here and move on. And later in life, like, because I did other things, I booked artists overseas and everything, for tours, and and then got into A&R. I really got into it as far as back into it. Like, yeah, I know I got this. Is whenever I was in college, one of my roommates. Now he wasn't a student, but one of my roommates, civilized, Messiah, was from Brooklyn, and he was already an A&R at Loud, so he bought me in and got me up there, and people listened to my ideas, and I went in for video. I was film. I was in the plan with the light, and he was like, "Man, your music background, they want you to do some A&R work. You know music. I read sheet music and everything."
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
looking at that as an asset,
yeah.
and at the same time, I was grasping this digital stuff. The MP, the Akai MP, the
Yeah,
two, the
yeah.
three,
Talk about it.
the
Yeah,
four. We was building with those, and we used to grab records. Just go to record stores to the crates, and we have our turntable, and we just look for sound samples. Just like today what people do with expansion packs and
yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
But
Ain't
we
nothing new
was
under the sun. You know what
Ain't
I'm talking
nothing new. Ain't nothing new.
about?
It's like I mean they made it easier, and I understand why
Yeah, click
they
of a
made it
button.
click
Yeah,
of a button. They made it so
yeah,
it can be done faster because it took us a
yeah,
while,
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
sometimes put that stuff together. We didn't have
Absolutely.
technology the way it is now.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the studio, you got that bus, man. You sitting up there, man. You plug in everything, man. You put one wire in the wrong spot, you out. You don't even know you
Cancel
out.
Christmas. It's over with.
Cancel it. You gotta patching. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Hit that one. Hit that one. You
Yeah,
sit
yeah,
patching all day, to get
yeah,
started. But I was fortunate enough along my way to get with Civilized to meet him, and we came together on a project. Another one of our roommates, an artist we took in from Brooklyn, Suave, and he had a sound, so we was doing production with him, and then we linked up with a producer from New Jersey named Infinite, and was and brought him in the
legendary.
circle and
Yeah,
had him working on his stuff, on the artists and Suave, and it's funny in that situation. I don't know if you experienced it, but it's always funny. It cracks me up when you got an artist that don't like the producer's sound, but
look,
bruh,
look, that's few and far between. But you know what's the ticker to have an artist that don't like the producer and speak on it. A lot
yeah,
of artists just try to push through it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
it takes a certain type of artist to say, you know what? I don't like that sound. I want to go in another
Yep.
direction.
Yep.
That could make or break a situation because usually the beat, the producer is tied into the situation. You know
All
what
the
I'm
way.
saying?
All
All
the
the
way.
way.
And
Yeah.
back at that, and at that time, production got the deal anyhow.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so you had to roll with the producers that
Yeah.
you have. And Suave did was trying to adjust it. But then we had another producer in our midst who was civilized, and he was the MP, and he just didn't, they didn't click, two different
Yeah.
sounds with those
Yeah.
productions, but we all made it work because
Hmm.
I basically told them, well, listen, if this don't work for y'all, man, go ahead and pay for a studio to go get your stuff off and whatever. In the meantime, everything we need is right here. In the
Yeah.
meantime, it was a one stop. We built it into a one stop,
Yeah.
but that was like the foundation of that. Outside of working, when Civ took me to Loud, was on the Big Puns It's So Hard campaign, and
Oh,
that's where I came in the door, right, and was
legendary.
getting trying to get my feet wet and learn, okay, this is the big leagues now. Let's learn, and then but at that same token, it was like, this is like, I can do this.
Hmm.
This ain't nothing new.
Hmm.
And what Steve Rifkin and Maddie and them guys had us doing, that learned a lot about marketing. Because
Yeah.
Steve Rifkin's the one that coined street sweeping. So you learn that because that's what SRC was. So I did that, and then Civ did another solid for me, and I had a female artist I got out of Camden County Jail. Artist named Fury, crazy. She could spit to anything, anything. You put any beat to it, she got something for it, right off the top of her head. Talk about freestyle, you know, great sound, articulate, the whole nine. So I
Yeah.
wind up taking her to Violator, Eric Nix,
Legendary.
and when it was
Rest
up
in peace, Chris
Violator,
Lighty. Yeah.
yeah, Chris and them,
Yeah.
but they did it up, and Fury was just a monster. And then from there, she got to do some stuff with the Roots. The Roots, we used to do the Black Lily, in Philly with the Roots. But that was my side stuff. That was beside not even the stuff I was doing with Civ and everybody up at Loud, because we went from there to Mob Deep, because Pun died. And then
Yeah.
when Pun died, that kind of shut that campaign down. And then it went over to Mob Deep and Exhibit, some other artists,
Oh my God.
but Exhibit came a little bit later, but Outkast was there. I mean, there
Yeah.
was so many legendary people. Wu Tang was there.
Yeah.
They were all there at Loud. And then when Relativity shut down, that brought over 3-6 Mafia, that brought over Exhibit, that brought over the next, all these other artists. And we got to experiment with them. We got to play with them, got to see like Andre 3000's a beast. Big Boy's
Yeah.
nice, Andre's a beast.
Yeah. Andre next level. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Three stacks, something different. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Andre is he's out there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was great. And then guys, that's the production because I'm into the music, the producing side. And then we took it a step further. We went up D&D, because Civ and them,
Yeah.
they carried the records for Premier.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mm.
so they was carrying the records. So Civ style was like Premiere style, with
Yeah.
this with except without the scratching.
Okay, but he
I,
chopped it up though.
he chopped it up just like
Yeah.
that. Them samples, he was
Yeah.
good with chopping them samples. I mean, we was catching samples with an MP off of cassette tapes, and DVDs, and stuff to make stuff happen. Enough that we got up in the studio to dump some tracks for Saigon and
Mm.
for the Abandoned Nation project they start, which got him on. And
Yeah.
Saigon's a beast, man.
Man,
That that
look,
that dude's a lot of people don't know that he's a beast.
Saigon next level. You know what I mean? I think he finna do some battles in the rap battle world. Like he finna, you know what I
He
mean?
is.
But
He is.
yeah,
He
Saigon,
is.
that project he did with Just Blaze was so slept on.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And,
slept on. You know what
and
I'm
you see,
saying?
and it's funny you mentioned that too because Blaze got his style from Civilized,
Yeah.
come from
Yeah.
Civ, because
Yeah.
Civ took Omen under his wing. and gave Omen his style. Omen did stuff for Jigga, for Jay-Z and everybody else, but that's where Just Blaze came out of school with the Pro Tools stuff, and then was under Omen's tutelage.
Yeah.
And then he got that style. And that's where
Yeah.
Just Blaze, because me and Civ had Beanie, all the rock dudes, we had them, we was playing them same type of tracks that we felt was hotter than what they wound up with. And they just didn't, they wanted them, but they didn't know how to deal with them then.
Legendary. Pete, let me ask you this, man.
Yeah.
When you were in the moment around all these legendary artists, like, did you know what you was around, like the cusp of what they say, the golden era of hip hop? Did you realize the moment you were in, or you just had your head down and you was just working? You know what I'm saying?
I realized it. I was taking it in, and at the same time was working. Because I was learning. Because, like I said, when I came in, I wasn't coming in to do any A&R or any management or nothing. I was coming in to do videos. I wanted to be a video director. I was in film school at Temple still, and then I knew I recognized, I knew who, especially with Mobb Deep, when I first got rolled over with them, to see them dudes, and then to be up in Queensbridge and just the history of what their struggle was and what they were talking about and their music.
Yeah.
Havoc was one of my favorite producers.
Look,
he's one of my favorite producers. Yeah, he's another
is real lyrically too, though. I know Prodigy used to get all the light for the rapping, but Hav was a problem on the bar side too. You know what I mean?
Havoc was the only one. He was good with that MP, was shifting them drums.
Yeah.
He could shift them drums like nobody's business, boy.
Yeah.
Havoc's a beast. But yeah, so with all of that, I was like, yeah, this is next level, like you said, with some of these people. I don't know when I'm gonna get my opportunity. And with it coming from a background of football, I'm like, I'm gonna win. I'm running like, with that too. I had all the time too, and I'm doing everything else. I played ball all the times, but we made it, and it was just and even got to get with some East Coast guys, cause like Corrupt, Corrupt, because he's from Philly.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't know that. They think he out the West, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
he's from Philly.
Yeah, that's a fact.
He's from Philly, and Philly, I get a big shout out to Philly. Philly has a big music history. Being behind the scenes. A lot of people, Motown is big. You can't take nothing away from Motown and what Berry Gordy and them did out there. But Philly International was right there, right next to him, doing the same thing.
Talk about it.
People would fall from Motown, like the Jacksons, Michael Jackson and them. When they left Motown, they went to Philly International.
Yeah.
And the Jackson 5, they went there. That's when they start. That's when they really start cutting them records. What was one of the records they cut up there? ABC and all that stuff. That stuff was Philly International. I mean, it was just, when they came up there, because Philly, you got to think about it, they had William Hart and all them guys. They had the Spinners up there. They even had, members of the Temptations and the Temps up there.
Yeah.
They had the Dells, the Dramatics, in their past, their background. So all of that music, history, and culture and sound is coming out of there. And Philly has a big music scene. There's a lot of, history behind it. And then a lot of people don't remember the Double Dutch Bus. That stuff came out of Philly. That was out of Philly.
Legendary.
So
you know what I'm talking about?
And these cats was there, outside of Will Smith and jazz and all that, and a lot of people don't realize that like Jill Scott come out of there.
That whole neo soul sound came out of Philly. About the roots, music, soul child, like all of that came from Philly. Like Philly got a deep, rich music history. You know what I mean? It's undeniable.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And a big part of that like when you talk about the Roots and those guys coming out there and the neo soul sound that which blew everything away.
Yeah.
Jazzy Jeff, a lot of people don't know Jazzy Jeff, Touch of Jazz. He mastered and mixed down a lot of that neo soul stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly all of Jill Scott's big albums, jazz touch. You
Man,
know,
look. Jazzy Jeff arguably got the number one single, the greatest single of all time. Like arguably, that Fresh Prince of Bel Air theme song is
oh yeah,
arguably the
yeah,
number one greatest song of all time.
oh
Arguably,
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
they made so much money off that song. Like Jazz is slept on. Him
yeah,
and
jazz.
Will, you know what I'm saying? But Jazz is super slept on. He's a legendary artist. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And I don't just put him in a DJ bag. He's an
No, you
artist.
don't.
You
You know,
can't. You know what I
and,
mean?
and it's funny growing up, and this goes back prior to all that. Growing up, my man Mark Hardy, I grew up with, played football with. His nephew is Will Smith. You know,
Mm,
that was his Will Smith's mom's brother. They had the same dad.
wow.
Okay. And Will used to come up to Pittsburgh in the summer to visit to stay with his grandfather, who was Mark's dad. So he come up there and hang out. So we knew Will from the summers. He used to come up and hang out, with us.
Yeah.
And then whenever he was getting ready to blow, he told us he'd be linked up with Jazz. I'm getting ready to do this. We get ready to break into the rap stuff.
Wow.
And people, used to clown him and everything. And then people used to say, yeah, well, just let us know. And he did it. Everything he said he was
Wow.
going to do, he did it. And when he came through Pittsburgh, he had us all in there. We was
Wow.
all in there backstage and everything. So Will's down to earth. He overspent himself, and that's love of him, love of his friends, his partners, and people he came up with. He wanted everybody to share the success that he was having,
Yeah.
and sometimes that happened with artists,
Mhm.
and like MC Hammer is another one that had a big entourage and that's
Yeah.
carrying a lot of people.
You can't take everybody. You know what I'm talking
Not everybody. Not every nowadays these artists, man, the small circles. They don't
yeah.
even the small
Yeah.
circles.
What you
It's
say
real
you learn from the past to fix the future. You know what I'm talking about? So
exactly.
they seen what the older generation was doing and was like, nah, we not finna move like that. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
not
And
at all.
and with everything that you do, P, is so interesting to talk to you, man. It's like I feel like I'm talking to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? With all respect, it's super
Thank you.
dope, bro. That's a
Thank you.
fact.
And it is a lot of people I know to come across that, and guys I DJ with, and guys I did stuff with up in Philly, New York, and everything with the music stuff that's still in it.
Yeah,
Suave's
yeah.
still in it. Civ, I don't know. We lost contact. Civ was a wild boy. So he was doing Civ. So we was doing our thing and just branching and the other stuff. But there's a lot of people, and I've run into this a lot. A lot of people are afraid of success.
Mm.
I don't know if you know
Elaborate
that.
on that.
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid of success. Okay, and what I mean by that is you got there, you're on the cusp. Okay, I
Mm.
worked hard. I was carrying people, because money I was making from Loud and everything else from working up top, I was bringing back down and building our own label, entertainment company. With the crew that I had put together with Civ and everybody, right? So you have producers and everything that you're right there. Okay, man, you need to remix these down, change this a little bit, and let's go. And I was going out doing like I worked for 105.9 The Beat, and we was breaking artists. We broke a lot of worked with Big Giant and Lady B. With Lady B, they both were outstanding, and we were breaking artists. We was breaking, we had new artist spotlight first, then we had Ear to the Street, and we was bringing artists into the mainstream radio and spinning their records and talking to them and letting people know, kind of like what we do with the streams now in some instances. So, and we was breaking people. My man who's doing it big like that now, and we're gonna talk. I'm gonna holler at him. He's busy, hardest working man in music today I know that's doing it all is Lex Luger, the Backwood ambassador. He
Legendary.
he is legendary, you
Yeah,
know,
that's a fact.
and he does it all. You know, he has his hands and he does it all. And we talked and we had the same conversation. He talked about it too. You know, you can't help everybody,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
can't.
And that's what it comes down because you wind up spending a lot of money and wasting
Yeah.
money for guys that don't have it. So when I say scared of success, where I'm getting us on shows opening with for Mob Deep, you know, opening, you know, sandwiched in between PD Pablo and you
Ah,
know somebody else, you know, Little Kim or somebody, you know, and getting people on stage and getting them to perform and getting them exposure and getting them known. We started came in on the Philly Blaze when it first started, right?
yeah.
And Funk Wizard Snow was a program director at Power 99 in Philly. And he
Oh,
left that to be the music writer and stuff for the city paper.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So once he did that, you know, he got first thing, one of the first things he did, he reviewed the project that we had done, me, Infinite, Suave, you know, all the stuff we was doing. He reviewed that project, gave us the center page and everything.
come
So
on,
when I'm
man.
talking about getting scared of success, moving up to that and leading up to doing the shows
Yeah,
that I had set forth, the people that you needed had the dumb stuff. Oh, I can't make it. I ain't gonna be able to do this.
yeah,
Or they do stuff that would like them. Like my man, he did it. He got himself. He got locked up, child support, and
yeah,
he did that by being somewhere he knew he shouldn't have been. You
yeah,
know, you knew you
yeah,
shouldn't have been there. You got jammed up, and now child support, and you know tomorrow night is you know. So you get left. You
yeah,
know, the show
yeah.
goes on. You just got to be left. So that's what I mean about scared of success. People that know, and it wasn't, and the person
Self
that told
sabotage. You know what I'm talking about?
self sabotage. I see it a lot.
I see. Yeah,
I see it
yeah,
a lot. I
yeah.
seen it even with my own artist that I had working with, where I had my man. He was from St. Louis, Mr. Lou. You know, he was in
Mm,
Philly and everything, and you know, and I had him at the time of Suave, and he was doing stuff in M Studio separate. And I heard his music, and I asked him, "Who's that?" He was like, "Well, that's Mr. Lou from St. Lou." I'm like, okay, when he come up, he said, no, he lives in Philly. He's over in Philly. So he introduced me to him, and I liked the sound, you know, with the music that he was doing. Okay, so I took him and brought him in with what we were doing, and wind up getting Mr. Lou on a tour with Murder Inc. and us, and we wind up
oh,
doing Canada, you know, because this is an interesting story. Me and KL, Big KL in Philly, Big K, shout out to Big KL and Malik Brooks, you know, my people doing their thing up there on the East Coast with way bigger than music stuff now, way bigger, you know.
yeah.
So we was at me, KL, and TD Terrence Dean, who's Swiss Beats Pop at TD Entertainment. So he had a girl group. So then I was doing like helping with doing the marketing. I was doing, you know, artist management and video and everything else because we had Cassidy too, you know, right
Mm,
from Rough Riders at that time. We had Cassidy. So we was up in New York. We had the girl group, you know, man, and we was right up on back in the day back then. Hit Factory was on one side of the street up there. I think it was on 34th from the lower west side. And
yeah,
then you had Sony Studios on the other corner, but there was across the street on opposite corners, you
yeah.
know, one up one side, one up the other side. So we was up there with our girl group, and we had them in the studio with Gene, Little Kim and Biggie and them's people. That was
Mm,
Queen B record. She was doing her thing, so we was auditioning the girl with them. We had them dancing, the girl group singing, dancing, everything. So my man KL came up and said, "Yo, Pete, that's Nelly and them's bus right there." I'm like, "For real?" So me being resourceful is the way I am. I keep all my artists' packages on me. I can't. There's always say, Pete, why you got that book bag, man? You just gonna draw from the cops or somebody. Get out of here, man. I kept everybody's packages on me.
yeah,
So I went onto the bus. Me and KL went up there, and we barged on the bus, and that's where we met Rail. That was Nelly and them's man. So
Yeah.
Nelly and them wasn't on the bus. They were recording MTV shows at the time, right? So them and the Lunatics. So who was on the bus was Rail and Tatum and Teddy Riley
Mm.
and a couple other management people that with them. So
Legends.
yeah, legends. And at that
Yeah.
time, I got on that bus and I gave Rail uh, Mr. Lou's package because I
Hmm.
was the only one. I had the packages back then in DVD cases, but it was
Yeah.
music. And I
Yeah.
had your bio. I
Yeah.
had it hooked up. That was my own, think creations I used to do.
Yeah.
And I used to make money. People used to come to me. Boy, I used to sit back all day, man, and just grind on it because people need packages and everything else.
Yeah.
And I was doing that digital stuff too, and with the marketing and posters and stuff. So I gave Rail, and I told Rail, this kid right here is from St. Louis. Rail said, Nelly and them's looking for somebody that got that edge, an edgy person from the Lou to bring into the Lunatics. So if
Hmm.
this guy, and he was like, man, you sure he's from St. Louis? That's all they kept saying. Well, he lives in Philly now because he's down there with us. That's what got him. He's just over there, but this is his people and whatever. And he was like, he just kept saying, are you sure? Yeah, he's from St. Louis. So he
Yeah.
said, call him. So here's another thing. You always listen. Call him, right? So I pulled out my phone and was hit my man right there. I
Okay.
always tell him, be ready. I always be on alert, look for my calls.
Yeah.
Did he answer his phone? No. Never answered his phone. I was
Oh.
calling him. He ain't never answered, right? He never answered. So Rel took the DVD. I told him, take the package. My number's on there. If you like it, you know me. We met, hit me, and we'll go from there, right? So Rel was like, yeah, no worries. I got you. And they went in and listened to it, right? So we went on back down with the girl group. And it just so happens, Gene and Lil Kim was there, but Free was there. And they was watching the girls perform. So it was good. So because Free sang, Free was in the studio recording. So
Legendary. Like
yeah,
this is hip hop. You know what I mean?
it is hip hop.
Yeah.
On that one block, you don't know. We had TD out there, Swiss Beats Pop, Terrence Dean. Then we got the bus with Teddy Riley, Rail, and Tatum and all of them in there, and
Look Kim Free.
Little Kim, Free,
You know what I'm
Gene,
talking about? Come
all
on,
these
man.
people that are huge
Yeah.
in the industry at that time. So we was constantly rolling like that. So stick the move. The next day we was back in Philly, right? Rail was blowing up my phone. I got Rail. I'm like, Rail was like, yo. And he said, we left New York because they said was leaving the next day. He said, man, by the time we got to Ohio, they listened to that CD 3 times. They was like, yo, man, they want to sign your boy. So we're going to make the meeting in New York. And for 2 weeks, we'll be back. And in the meantime, go see his lawyer, who's Maury Winkler, and his brother Mike was handling all of Nelly's business at the time,
Yeah.
right? The attorney out of Newark, New Jersey. So we went up there, and they were trying to verify that he was from St. Louis. That was the first thing. So we went in there, and that was cool. That came out of that sweet. Maury and them verified it. They did the check.
Yeah.
People, yeah, he's from the Lou. He's from the
Yeah.
Lou. That's what we used to call him, Mr. Lou from the Lou.
Yeah.
So Maury Winkler, his brother Mike, who was Nelly's production manager, said, "This is the newest lunatic. You can call yourself the newest lunatic," because they was trying to sign the girl group we had too.
Mm.
Okay. And they went, what happened, that was a different situation. It was 2 different situations because Nelly and them had a deal with Sony at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the girl group was going. But Mr. Lou was going right to the main label with them. So for real, he's gonna
Yeah.
be the lunatic, right?
Actually, with the Lunatics.
The
Yeah.
lunatic, because he had that, that pockets look with the bald head and everything
Yeah.
that tatted up.
Yeah.
I did his cover so hard. I know they thought this was pockets. That pocket, because he had no shirt on. It was hooked up, man. I
Yeah.
hooked him up. I captured him with pictures and then put
Yeah.
that them sprinkles on it with that
Yeah.
software.
You made it look like money. You know what I'm talking about?
Made it look just like money. That was my intentions, to make it look just like money.
Yeah.
And we got out there and we got up there and it was good, right? Everything was good. Yeah, we was going on that tour. He said this was outside of them. They ain't have nothing to do with that. We got on it. We just went up there And they says, yes, you can say Mr. Lou is the newest Saint Lunatic, and represent Nelly and the Saint Lunatics and everything, right? So we went up to Canada on that tour with Murder Inc. and everybody, and it was love. We had the girl group and everybody who was up there opening for them.
Yeah.
So we got back, settled down. Mike Winkler called us and said, Kay hit me, says, Pete, you ready? We got to go up to Mike's office, and you know what time it is. Yeah, I know what time it is. So he went and got Mr. Lou. We drove up to Newark, got up in Mike's office. We sitting there talking, and that time he wanted another record. So I had him and F get in the studio in the lab, and we cut another record. It was hot though, man. It was like a 314 St. Louis record, right? It was hot. They didn't have nothing like that. Their hands was in there. They was all rocking, right?
Yeah.
So this is the day Mike Winkler pulled that checkbook out and the paperwork and was like, we get ready to get that check, for Mr. Lou, and then get the paperwork and find out what's going on, that we can take the paperwork, go back to our attorney over in Manhattan, take care of whatever. And Mike looked at Mr. Lou, and now mind you, Mr. Lou ain't say a word. Remember, he didn't talk to him.
Right.
He brought him up there just to verify him. They never asked him to rap in person or nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Never.
Yeah.
Right? So they got up there to the meeting. It was all the talk that me and KL did, keeping him up there and me pushing him in the studio.
Yeah.
And Mike asked Mr. Lou, how do you feel about all this, man? You're a Saint Lunatic. You get ready to be on. Get ready to cut you this check so you can get back and forth to the studio with Nelly's producer, Luther. He was working with little Luther at the time. He was like, yeah, you're going to be in there with Luther. And this dude came out of his mouth talking about, I paid for this, and I did this, and I did all this. And me and KL looking at each other like, what's he talking about? And I did this and all this stuff and this, that, and the other. And you know what that means. Once you start doing that, you paid for it. You paid for all that? You did? For real? Oh, so he closed the checkbook and said, well, this is what you can do.
You can continue paying for everything.
Yup, you're going to pay Luther to cut these 3 demos for you that we can present to the label to put you on the label.
Oh, my God.
Each time you come to the studio, have 3 stacks, and just be ready to bless him. He ain't have 3 stacks to do it. And at that point, me and KL looked at each other too and says, man, listen, I don't want to put, after that outburst where we got you here. We did it all with our connects, our things. They ain't know who you was.
Are we talking about tripping at the finish line?
Tripping, smacking your face on the ground before you cross the finish. Smacking your face on the ground before you cross the finish line. That's what we talking about. Smacking your face off the ground.
About?
No joke. No joke. Went from getting money. At that time, they gave you like 30 grand to to pay your bills, to maintain, to come back and forth to the studio, to live, to get your stuff done so they can present it on the label and get your budget cut. Because that's what they wanted, to get that budget. They liked the sound, but apparently they ain't like it that much.
Yeah.
And he blew it. But guess what out of that? And I'll tell you the whole thing that what came out of that. You remember the first person I met on the bus I gave the CD to was Rail.
Yeah.
Nelly's man, Rail, right? Rail was also Chingy's. Had Chingy in the background, right?
Okay.
Chingy dropped his album. The whole Chingy sound was Mr. Lou. But they lightened it up. I said, they just stole your sound, Lou. They got you now. Now what you gonna do? Chingy got your sound with that right there. That was Mr. Lou doing all that there. That's what got him, and he was more street hard with it, but they lightened it up and gave it to Chingy. So I mean, and that became, and even Suave, it was funny because it became a lot of animosity in the house. It was thick behind that. It was thick.
It's smoke in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Smoke.
Oh yeah, pure smoke. Pure, uncut, unadulterated smoke. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about it. And the whole thing is, me and Kay looked at it. We couldn't figure out why he did that.
Ring the
Okay.
alarms.
And then the girl group, they go to sign, and one of the girls was 15 years old. She was a Spanish girl.
Wow.
Her dad would sign, her mom would not sign because they had to sign the power of attorney over because they would be on tour in the studio to the management. And then mom would not do it. The father would, so we had to scramble and swap out another female with them. And they wind up blowing their opportunity because of that situation. So those situations happen, whenever you're right there on the cusp. And I can tell you more from other people doing it. I can tell you more, man. But Master P came to Philly because Philly's known for the gimmick rappers. There's a lot of gimmick rappers up there, like 2 or 3 dudes that can hit you, like the major figures. When they come out there, a bunch of them, Oskino and Sparks and Dutch and Spade, and all of them rap teams, and they all formed in one group. And Gilly the Kid was there, So that was the rap. But Master P came up there and snatched some people up. Man, it was just crazy. And then that whole music scene in Philly, back to Philly, because you got to remember they had Allen Records there. They had Allen there, and then that was Joe Nicolo and Chris Swartz. Okay, and Nas was online there trying to get on. Nas was online, and by the time they even got to him, he got picked off the line, taken to California, and Nas blew right out the gate. So they messed up, but they was having inner fights at the time. We didn't know.
So they had the potential to sign arguably one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Yeah, listen.
And he was on the assembly line, is what you're telling me.
He was on the line waiting to get in, right? And they had the Fugees there. They had the Fugees. Now, Joe Nicolo didn't like Wyclef, I don't think. So they had that Fuji project complete, done. Joe Nicolo was trying to shelf him. And Chris Swartz, like, nah, Chris Swartz, that's when they broke up. They split.
So he's trying to shelf the Fugees with Lauryn Hill and Prize.
And Wyclef. He tried to shelf them.
That's crazy.
Chris Swartz wouldn't. He put it out there. That just shows you the level of some type of, when people dislike you or hate you, and you could be like they were. The Fugees is a legendary group.
Legendary group
forever. Multi-platinum recording group.
That's a fact.
And they was trying to shelf them. And Chris Swartz knew better. And Chris Swartz, he pushed it. They made their money, and then they split up. Chris Swartz went on and started Rough Nation. And then Joe Nicolo started some other label. And we used to still with him here and there. But Chris Swartz at Rough Nation, we wind up getting Major Figures on there. And Chris Swartz wind up, the history of that, and this was probably, I say, like a couple years later when he had Rough Nation, he had Eminem come to him trying to get a record deal, and he told Eminem, I'd never sign a white rapper. Chris Swartz told Eminem, I'd never sign a white rapper.
Yo, now we talk about dropping the ball, right? You know what I'm talking about? Because Dre got a hold of that tape, and he said the exact opposite. He said, "Yeah, I'm finna sign me a white boy today."
Hey, yeah. And that's the thing about that. They all leave the East or Philly because Rough Nation is Philly, but I think Rough Nation's main offices was in New Jersey, across the river. But Chris Swartz done that, and once Eminem blew, man, I've never seen Time Warner snatch the budget off of a label so fast. You talking $64 million.
Woo! Woo!
$64 million.
Yo, that's a bracket drop. You know what I'm talking about? Like we I might not be able to send you to college. You know what I'm talking about? Like I just paid for this house. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. So that stuff.
Yo, what we doing?
That stuff is gone. I mean, Chris Swartz was cool because he made money off the Fugees and everything else, but some earlier artists, but the Eminem was the ball drop. Rough Nation, they sponsored a couple lyricists lounge. They had the Major Figures, they broke the figures out. My man Hot Runner, blew them up with that That's Us and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was the stuff, and me and Hot lived on the same block. We lived on the same block. Cause I used to see him. I see the dude riding around on the bike, man. He'd be on a bicycle riding around. I'm like, man. So one day we got to talking, because his real name is Terrence too. So we got to rapping about what you're doing. He said, yeah, I do music. Me, him, and Sid. And he was like, oh yeah, I do music. So he took us up into his crib. Now, mind you, he was with his wife and 2 kids, right? They was living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and the bedroom was the studio.
Mm.
And it was nothing but records of that bug. Records and his
Yo,
equipment, man. And
yo,
he was
that's
letting
not
us
the
hear,
mud.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And after that, the figures he came up on with Chris Schwarzenegger, because Chris Schwarzenegger wound up giving the figures like four and a half million, to get
Mm.
them. But that's a lot of miles on there.
Man,
But but
hey, but that's still life
but
changing
that
money.
it is life
If you
changing.
handle it right, you know what I'm saying, and use that as a springboard to do other things, you know what I mean?
It
And
is.
throughout your career, man, you have managed to do that in so many different areas in the culture. And I kind of want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Everything that you've been doing is just like legendary work. So beyond that, just when we talking about the man of
Right.
who you are, who
Right.
is Peace Stock?
P stock. P stock is, I am what you call a culture lover. I love the culture. The hip hop culture is me. I am what I am hip hop. Everything about it I love. Production. I'm am for uh, the betterment of our people and the people at this stage. We always was fought for that. So we got this thing that we created. There's the arguments in the Bronx or whatever, Queens. We created it, and we're not eating off of it like we should be.
Talk
I
about it.
mean,
Address the culture.
there's artists out there that's losing royalty checks, and their masters is being held up by people. I mean, when you look at it and think about it, uh, Rough Riders paid Puffy $8 million to get the locks out of their deal off of Bad Boy.
Mm-hmm.
He paid $8 million for that. Okay, and the locks, that was back when, that had to be in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
The 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s, something like that, mid to early 2000. And then about a year ago, they just getting their masters.
Yeah.
And that's sad, but that goes the case for a lot of people, a lot of artists
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Your masters is tied up, so we don't own our own. With the way things go now, it's easier to own your own.
Yeah.
You just got to come in the door. You can't. When I hear people talk about, yeah, I'm trying to get this record deal, I just look at them, shake my head. It's like, it ain't never gonna happen, man.
Yeah.
If you're not the record deal, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. That's a fact.
You got to be the record deal. There ain't
Yeah.
no record labels, and if they do come up and they give you any kind of money, they are going to beat you to death. You ain't going to see nothing. That's like one of my favorite songs from back in the day by Brand Nubian. Don't let it go to your head.
Don't
Remember
let
it?
it go to your
To your
head.
head?
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no.
no. Yeah, that's it, right? And he tell you right there, Lord Jamal tell you, you can be on and still broke home writing,
Yeah.
and they ain't doing that. And that's what happens to a lot of people. You keep writing
Yeah.
and writing and writing, and you broke and you ain't getting nowhere. That's the way it is. So I want to see more people get their own royalties and own it, what they create, because that's economic wealth and amongst the people that you can pass on and pass on and pass on and build. That's how you build,
Yeah.
and build for the future of this thing. Instead of when I look at it now, and I'm becoming, a harsh critic of it a lot
Mm.
lately too, with the point where R&B's wiped out. That's the foundation of music. If you because you can
Yeah.
catalog that music,
That's
you
a
know,
fact.
R&B catalog is outselling the hip hop catalog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that
R&B still actually sell. Like hip hop records don't really sell like they used to in the 90s, where artists used to
no,
go triple platinum, quadruple platinum, like all that. them days is over with. But R&B still sells like that. A dope R&B artist can still go triple platinum and go diamond. In today's music, it's not like that for hip hop. You know what I mean? Hip hop is a tool to open up other doors. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Your portfolio, so to speak. So yeah. I like that. That's definitely the mentality, and they try to paint the narrative that hip hop crushed the R&B genre. You know what I mean? And I don't want to subscribe to that because they always try to make it seem like one thing kills the other, and it's really like it can only be one popular black genre, and I think it boils down to that. You know what I mean? It can only be one popular black. It can only be one black person on top right now. It's only one black female artist that's the best. Instead of it being multiple. Lil Kim gotta be at Nicki Minaj. It can't be two dope R&B. It just can only be one. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just the conquer the vibe mentality. You know what I mean? Where they trying to make it seem like it's fused together when you have the hip hop and R&B when it's really separate genres. But we just good at what we do, so we able to do them together. But that don't mean we blurring the lines. You know what I'm saying? That's the propaganda.
You don't. You know it is. It is because the guy groups are gone. You seeing Korean BTS groups.
Oh, come on, man. What is that? What is that?
It's
that
pop.
Ain't nothing but come on, man.
Yeah, it's us. It's that,
come on, man.
R&B pop.
Yeah.
It's that lane that we vacated.
Yeah.
And I think it gets vacated because even back in the day with the groups, from the Temptations, the Spinners, I don't care who, all those groups, there's always egos, and there's always the ego's the biggest thing.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
Yeah, exactly.
They were roughing. You know what I'm talking about? And they was gangsters too. Like, don't get it twisted. Just because they was on that stage singing, sounding so good, them was gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop, they think that's the only. If you sing, you ain't hard or you soft. You know what I'm saying?
No,
but that's where it came from. Them was gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Run up on Al Green if you want to.
Yeah, they were hard.
Run up on Marvin Gaye if you want to. You know what I'm
talking about? They were hard.
That's a fact.
But that's but that's what's missing, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's what you catalog and take in. You need some. We talked about that. Tank is still doing his thing.
Absolutely.
Out there. But even my wife asked me, whatever happened to Maxwell? Where's Maxwell go? I understand. What happened to this one? Even Bobby Brown. In a New Edition. I think that was like them and Boys to Men. Boys to Men. They were one of the last.
Jagged Edge.
We had a bunch in the 90s. We had a bunch with Troop. We had Troop. We had
Shy, H-Town. Like the 90s, Jodeci, Silk. You know what I mean?
All those
absolutely.
That they're eating the day off of that stuff.
That's a fact.
If they own their masters.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them don't. Like my man 2K Kent. Big shout out to 2K Kent, Top Billing Entertainment. Like him and Crawford City was doing Casey and JoJo. They was doing the tours when they was doing a reality TV show, and they do Brown Derby. They worked with Bobby Brown. They was doing Bobby Brown. Well, they did Bobby Brown Jr.'s records, so that's huge. Because that history with Bobby Brown to have that stuff and that longevity still, I don't even know if he got his masters because Babyface and L.A. Reid are some serious businessmen.
Oh, that's a fact.
So you coming in the door with them,
That's a fact.
They eating. I know they eating.
Oh, yeah. They definitely getting a huge slice of the pie.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And when you speak about eating, and kind of tapping into the soul food, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like along your life, man. I kind of want to tap into your mind around this part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And when you think along your life, man, what was some of the best advice you've ever been given?
Some of the best advice I've been given. The best advice I've been given a lot of points, the time is, work hard. And it's always good when you work hard, make sure you're working hard for yourself. Uh, accord people strive for that American dream stuff. That American dream is people that got their own business working hard and have something to pass on. So working hard, maintaining your own, getting your own masters, owning your own. That's the best advice I got. Own your own, what you can. Own your own masters. Own your own publishing company. Own your own media companies.
Yeah,
Own your own networks, and that's the way. And it's funny because we rap about that all the time,
yeah,
and we're going to get into it. And I was reading today, and I think I told you about a few years ago, we was dealing with Master P, and then whenever they came in with the one platform we had, they was checking it out, seeing it. I was reading today, Master P's launching his own network.
yeah,
So he's up there and he's seeing all that stuff. So my thing is if I'm in that position, and he probably is people that he's surrounded himself with, but that's my whole thing, to make it, to create jobs and to create positions for people to learn and grow in the industry so they can pass on to the next generations and the next generations.
yeah,
Build these companies to keep black owned,
yeah,
black owned businesses. We need that. We're over
yeah.
$1 trillion in this
A year,
economy.
a
In this
year,
economy, a year in
a
this
year.
economy. Yeah,
We spend
in
a
this
trillion
economy.
dollars a year. That's a fact. Address the culture.
Yeah, $1 trillion a year in this economy.
Yeah,
And so to get a piece of that and take for the next generation, so the next generations don't got to struggle out the gate like everyone else, like,
yeah,
like like we have been in the past. Come from the backgrounds, but you got to keep that hunger, because that's a part of the hunger. You got you
mm,
got you got to work like that, like that's the way that's the way it is. Like if you got an 8-hour job that you got to do, you got to be able to put at least 4 hours in. There's 24 hours in the day. So if
yeah.
you work 8 hours for somebody, you can put another 8 hours into your own
To
company,
your own
to your
situation.
own situation, to
Yeah,
make that grow, and to make it, to build something that you never know. With the day, with the internet, man, tomorrow night you could be on and popping.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
you never know.
And you know what, man? Speaking about building your own and being on and popping, as you say, let's be clear. We gonna speak facts today. You gonna get your flowers today, big dog. When we talk about this media space and this streaming and this website, this whole digital world, you was on the cusp of that. Like you were one of the forefathers of
Yeah,
bringing this streaming thing to the mainstream when nobody thought it was gonna do what it was doing. Even before Netflix, when they were still sending out DVDs, you
Netflix.
were streaming. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So, talk about that and how did you know that that's where the game was going and wanting to bring to life this great platform of iHipHopTV that you got? Talk about that in your whole mentality, brother.
that's a great point. I started actually streaming digital radio. Okay. Dr. Richard Sizemore of iFreedomTV. Big shout out to Dr. Richard, iFreedomTV. Computer wizard. He brought the streaming idea, the radio, because he was doing digital radio, and I was listening to it. I'll be over his house, we be busting it up, and I said, "Oh, that's nice." He says, "Well, you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So he set me up, and I had a digital radio station. So with that digital radio station, that allowed me to stream any music because you can't record it. So I could use anybody's music and stream it, and I was pushing the unsigned artist, the unsigned hype, with mainstream music, kind of like what Lex Luger does today, with the videos and the radio shows where he'll take unsigned hype artists and artists on the climb and put them in rotation with mainstream artists, and you can't even tell. You be asking yourself, who's that? Well, that's what I tried to do, and then from there it evolved to uh, television, TV, through stream. And Netflix, you're right. Netflix was still sending DVDs out. And me, Dr. Richard, And Aladdin 19, our brother, man, that was there, and we got together and we decided. And Aladdin brought LVH magazine and the Michael Jackson Family Foundation to the table, and we were streaming their events. They had, I think it was the 29th year or anniversary of We Are the World. It can be seen on our iHipHopTV1.com on the JFF channel, Jackson Family Foundation channel. And we streamed this event. This had to be like 2014. I remember it was Christmas Eve. And it was like 2:30 in the morning when we just got started on East Coast time. And we just got started because people was in Tokyo. We had people in New York, China, people in Tokyo. We had people from South America, from England, Africa. Everybody was coming in. We was on 7 big Megatron billboards in Tokyo, streaming. We had somebody, Willie Galt. We even got his commercial and promotions up on the boards in Tokyo with him with the Super Bowl trophy, and that was Aladdin 19. So that's when we started. So me, Aladdin 19, and Dr. Richard, that started evolving it. What we had, we took it from there, and people would come to us because they would see, that like, man, what are y'all doing? And people don't understand that technology. Back then, people would come see and like, oh yeah, yeah, and they's like, oh yeah, I'm getting with you, but you never hear from them because me and Aladdin 19 figured out that, it was way over their heads. They couldn't grasp it, and then a fact with, when you're dealing with European people or whatever, they're they don't understand that you're African American. How do you know all this stuff? You get a lot of that. How do you know all this stuff? So that's big. So so we kept evolving it from there. I think I can't hear you, bro. Did you say something? I think you went out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. There you go. But yeah, so from there it just kept growing. That's what I said. We ran into Master P and Reggie Sweet, his guys, and we kept coming around. And the whole time we kept building. And there's an article on us in LVH Las Vegas Hollywood magazine where we started out. iHipHopTV was iHipHop Martial Law. So we came out like that, and then the member that we had, the late Ambassador Mark Ruffino, we called him. Mark Ruffino, he died, his untimely death, and that was his baby. Him and Aladdin 19.
Yeah.
We was going and doing it. So, and we was trying to figure out, okay, what we're gonna do. I said, hey, I got iHipHopTV already in the can, so we can just. And it was like ding, light came on, boom. And then we went from Netflix, where you go to iHipHopTV,
yeah,
and we were putting on filmmakers and music people. You could download music, you can rent films, pay-per-view, all that stuff. And that's at the time when Netflix started to shift from DVDs into the stream platform.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we were already in it. We were already in it and thriving. We thanks to LVH magazine, we've been in Jackson Family Foundation. Simon Shuri, big shout out. That took us to Cannes Film Festival, Dubai Film Festival, Tokyo Film Festival, breaking out these festivals, and Philadelphia International Film Festival. These festivals did it. That first year we noticed the first year we went to Cannes, and Simon Shuri and them, they broke it out at the Villa of the Oxygen. Man, that was huge, man. 4,500 different media outlets.
That's global.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. You being able to touch the world based off of your abilities. When it comes to the culture, when we talk about everything that goes on within it. I know you just seen it all. If you could change something about the game as far as the culture, what would you change?
We talked about that too. I would try to take some of the water out of it. I would take some of the water out.
It's a little watered down. It's a little watered down.
Because with COVID, it kind of, for a minute there, for that brief minute, it leveled the playing field for a brief minute for some people.
Yeah.
And then it came back up. But that's the whole thing. What I would change in it is, again, the main thing is people owning their own stuff, stepping up and owning their own stuff, putting out good, not disposable music.
Yeah.
Put out positive music, to uplift the people. Music is very important. That's why I love it. Music sets your mood, sets the mood for stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's a soundtrack for your life.
For your life, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you put that music out there, and it got that positive vibe, that positive feel, that's like a Pharrell with that happy song.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Don't be afraid. And something else is, don't be afraid for artists to cross that lane and get over into that lane.
Not allow themselves to be put in a box.
Don't stay in a box.
Yeah.
Think outside the box.
Absolutely.
Especially with creating the music. Something I hear people do it all the time. Oh, that's whack. I ain't doing that. That's this, that's that. And then somebody else take it, and next thing you know, well, that song's on the radio.
It's a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit.
Yeah.
So you gotta be able to try, and don't be afraid to try and sample a little bit of everything, like we do as producers. Don't be afraid to sample something. Don't be afraid to be a trendsetter and start it. Don't be a follower, be a starter, a trend starter. And that's what we try to do. And that's what brings me when I see brothers like yourself, that do the music and that bring these platforms like Address the Culture, which is really needed with the culture.
Thank you, brother.
And we can come down and get deep with some stuff, because one of my early mentors, and a lot of people might not know, was K. Leroy Irvin. Okay, growing up in Pittsburgh, and K. Leroy Irvin was the first black Speaker of the House, majority Speaker of the House in the state of Pennsylvania. Okay,
that's legendary.
Yeah, and he's a lawyer. And the stuff Martin Luther King was doing with the lunch counter sit-ins and all that stuff, he was doing that way before Martin Luther King was in this area. And then he got into politics. He was a lawyer, became a lawyer after Second World War. He's from New York originally. And after the Second World War, he settled in Pittsburgh, went to college, and became a lawyer, got his degree, and then got into politics and everything. And it was used and went on from there. But he mentored us, and it showed me, I seen that part of how you're talking about the third most powerful man in the state of Pennsylvania, and people still, you can see how they still disrespect him. That's why I was like looking at Obama, when people in there standing up, talking about you're a liar, standing up in the House. They never done that to any other president. So they should, if anybody, Donald Trump should have got it the most.
Yeah.
But that's what I seen. But he showed us how to do things right. He showed us how to use what we have available, basically what they allow us to use in our advantage.
But that's what we always done, right? Take the bare minimum and turn it into something great.
And great. That's what we do.
Like, that's what we do as a culture, as a community. We've always, they gave us the pig intestines, we turned it into chitlins.
Chitlins,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like that's
the chicken wing. All we got was the wings from the chicken.
Yeah.
We turned that into a thing. Now chicken wings, you can't even find them. They more than breasts, so that's what it is. But that's what he taught us, because at the time, and that was a thing where they was building these major highways through the city. So he was organizing people because people wanted jobs. These were high-paying jobs. So he was organizing people, and he was showing us how to organize. And we went down there, and we used to block the construction sites and everything, because they was bringing people from West Virginia, from Ohio, up to do work. And these highways, to be honest to God truth, was going right through poor white neighborhoods. And they weren't included. So we went out there knocking on doors in their neighborhood, telling them to get out there and join us. This is a fight. Your husband's sitting home unemployment. The steel mills are closed. What's your son going to do? And this, that, and
get involved.
Get involved. This is your community.
Absolutely.
And they're coming in here making money and taking it back to their state. And after that, the news, they made it racial. They made it more racial, which we already knew it was.
Come on,
And,
man.
and that's when I got out of it. That's when I left the city. I said I got to get out of here. I can't stay here with that. And then I got re-involved when I met Dr. Richard in the human rights tip with the Lao human rights. That was huge. So it showed me another way of maneuvering around Capitol Hill. I spoke on Capitol Hill on behalf of the Thai people one time because nobody would speak for them, and they were being, for saying putting up two fingers in the air saying peace, they go to jail. You couldn't do that stuff. So we went up there and other events, music, fight for the rights for music, and everything else, and you just see it at another angle from another group, and
That's dope.
all that stuff. I want to apply that stuff. We got to pass on to each other because we're the only people on this in this country that don't have a lobby. If you think
Yeah.
about it, there's no lobby for us.
Yeah. That's a
There's no
fact.
lobby.
It's no
Everybody else,
home for us either. You know what I'm talking about?
no home.
We don't have a place that we can go back and is welcome like everybody else in this country. And
No.
that sounds like a lost tribe to me. But we gonna definitely spin a block and address the culture on that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how we do it, big homie.
Yep.
You spoke about doing things in another way. You know what I'm saying? And that was very interesting to me because it kind of gives yourself a look in the mirror, so to speak, and knowing that you can and improve. So when
Yes.
you think about doing things in another way along your life, if you could go back and give younger you some advice, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself to pay attention more. To pay attention.
Mm,
To pay attention. Because you're young, you're youth. You're worried about girls. You're worried about other stuff at that time and everything else.
yeah,
Pay attention. You know,
yeah,
get more involved, which I did. That's how I learned filmmaking.
yeah.
I walked through the set, walked right through the scene, opening scene of Flashdance, the movie Flashdance, and and and, 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 and that's and I
Did
met
you get some
Jennifer
water
Mills.
on you?
And, that was the opening scene of the movie was whenever she's riding the bike down the hill
Okay,
going to
okay,
work.
okay.
Okay.
All
That hill
right,
she was
all right.
riding down. I grew up in some projects that was up the hill from there, right?
Okay, okay.
So I was headed home because I knew I was in college,
Oh, that's crazy.
and I had knew there was a check at home waiting for me. So I was headed home to get that check, right? Because we had a show, we was DJing and everything then. And I walked right through the scene and I wasn't paying. I was looking at the ground focused. And I look up and I see her coming down the hill on the bike because the shot they was looking for, she started down. They had the long shot of her coming down. And then she turned down Fountain Street. And that's where everybody was. And I walk up and I look at her and I'm like, dang, this girl's pretty. Who's this? Right here, right? I've never seen her before, And then I
ain't
hear
never seen you around here. Who
never.
is you?
And then I hear cut. When I hear that, I look, I see all the cameras and lights and everything. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I was thinking,
Yo, that's crazy.
and I forgot about that
crazy.
check. But I was lucky because then I did some of it. I basically forced myself into the production because I wanted to learn that. That's cool. I want to learn that. How do the
Yeah,
lights? How do you set the lights? And I got to,
yo.
I got to get some work, and I got to learn. That's where I got my first learning experience with making movies.
So did that experience kind of change the course of you walking through that set? Did it kind of change the course of your life as far as you pursuing
Yeah,
that moment?
yeah. That
Wow.
from that point on, we did because we already dabbled before that. Where we grew up with one of the older heads, they was a Star Trek fanatic. We had one of them Super 16 film cameras. We used to be in the
Wow.
woods playing episodes of Star Trek. He always wanted to be Mr. Spock or whatever. I said, yeah, we was the Black Star Trek crew. It was funny, the Black Star, but it was allowing us to develop and learn how to set up scenes and to shoot
Yeah.
scenes and the edit and the cut and everything else. And I mean, and we just building on that. But when I seen it at that level, that just sparked my interest even more. You know, to see it right there with the big 35 millimeter, 70
Oh,
millimeter
oh,
film camera.
we talking lights, camera, action. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
this is the real deal. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah,
Like how they say stars are born. You know what I'm saying? Them Hollywood
yeah,
lights is different. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
And like once you get bit by a certain bug, man, you can never get rid of that itch. Like
No,
it's a passion, and it don't even matter. Like it's just entertaining, and that's why I can definitely relate to somebody like you who have put his print on every part of the culture because I find myself doing that as well. And that's why we relate on so
yes,
many different levels
levels.
because
Yep,
you find yourself having to touch these things because it's just as much passion in those as it is from the original thing you got into the game because it's all creative.
it's
It's
all
all,
creative.
you know what I'm saying? It's
It's
just
all
different forms.
creative. It's all
Yeah,
creative,
yeah,
and we come from the people that created the arts. You know,
yeah,
that came
yeah,
from all that stuff. Where all that
yeah,
stuff come from. So all that stuff. When I look about and see where back a while they used to talk about people talking about people. You talking ebonics? Don't talk in ebonics to us.
yeah.
No, I looked at it like this. People say that's ebonics. No, I look at as those people tapping in to their roots, to their history,
Mm,
coming out of Africa. That was the language because if you think about it, here in the United States, uh, English, whatever, the European really don't have their own language. They
mm.
they, they don't have their own cursive, their own. I mean, for real, it's Roman.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Roman,
That's a
which is
fact.
Mediterranean. That's all
That's a
Roman.
fact. That's a
It
fact.
was forced on them. So in
Yeah,
Africa, there were several different languages. There were seven different meta nectar, as they call it, writing,
yeah,
and everything, the netter. So, I mean, so all of that stuff. So when you hear people with our slang, they talk about our slang and everything is slang. Yeah, but uh, the majority is making a lot of money off our slang
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and keeping us locked out. So we got to keep doing what we're doing
yeah,
and just try to retain it for
yeah,
ourselves and for our own people. But and that's just that part, that part of it, to be that creative force, and musicians and music. If you notice that musicians, there ain't kind of animosity amongst musicians, as
no,
far as
no, no, no,
in creating or music or culturally or anything else, for the
no,
majority in the mainstream, that doesn't exist.
no.
And if everybody was on that vibe and on that smooth
But
groove,
it do come in when the money get involved.
when money get involved, well, you got to think about this. And I always say that, like when they say Drake, Eminem, the greatest, sold the most hip hop records and everything else. Well, the majority of the people, here in this country that buy them records look like him,
Yeah, that's a fact.
look like him.
He's
So
supposed to have the biggest audience.
he's supposed to,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that. But and we don't mind. We give him that pass. Dre and him gave him the keys, so he can run because it's representing the hip hop culture.
and
Period.
let's be honest, artists like Eminem, Vanilla Ice, Third Base, Beastie Boys, those artists opened up hip hop to the world, made
Yeah.
hip hop get in them rooms and them offices and them places that hip
Yes.
hop wouldn't have got to. You know what
Yep.
I mean? It
Yep.
made it able for people like MC Hammer and Will Smith to
Will
cross
Smith.
over. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And
Yes.
make hip hop and turn it global. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
honest. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
you're right.
Those artists were a huge part of hip hop touching the globe. That's a
Yeah.
fact. Yeah,
Yeah. They
yeah,
made it.
yeah,
They made it. And we're not mad at them, but they're the majority. And
yeah,
if you got the majority, we got half of that majority that will support us, and then the other half we know you can't count on.
yeah,
Whereas if you're an Eminem, or if you're a Machine Gun Kelly, or if you're a Mac Miller, or
yeah,
if you're somebody, you're gonna get that bigger audience to come in and take you because it's whatever you want to call it. The majority
yeah,
of the people look like you, so
yeah,
they're going to listen to it. The younger people's going to listen to it. But as long as they represent and they let people know the truth about the culture and where it comes from and the music and everything, and keep ratting with the side they are with these producers and everything,
yeah,
because what worries me is like everything else, they're gonna steal that. 10 years from now, they're gonna be telling kids, no, rap music was started by four white guys in North Carolina or Alabama.
Come on, man.
I
Come
mean,
on, man. Hey, look, it's possible. It's possible. I can't put nothing past nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The way they changing the narrative and moving the goalposts on so many different things in the culture, I would not be surprised if you heard years from now Eminem was the first
rap. Yeah, it was the first hip hop artist. Eminem or Mac Miller.
Yeah.
They might give it to Mac since Mac's that. But understandably that happens. That's like with Elvis Presley before that. And everybody before that, like people talk about the Glenn Miller band from back in the swing bands in the day, but Count Basie's band was just as was more in step with everything.
Yeah.
And then you get into guys like Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones produced and arranged. Ray Charles. Ray Charles, another one. But Quincy Jones. A lot of people don't know Quincy Jones produced Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, that's a fact.
A lot of people don't know that Quincy Jones did it. So our blueprint on this music thing is real and it's big and it's never going to change.
Blueprint on the culture, the world,
the culture,
big. You know what I mean?
Period.
And you speaking about the blueprint and the culture and the people that's in it, because that's what makes the culture, the people. You know what I mean? And I know you done touched a lot of people along the way. What message would you like to give to them? To all of the people that's been in your corner, the A1s and day one, as they say, everybody that has supported you, iHeartTV, iHipHopTV, and everything else you've done, what message would you like to say to them, man?
Man, I like to say it ain't never going to end. I just want to get it into a position where I can pass the baton off and be comfortable that somebody else is going to keep letting people know either the music culture, even the life culture, the circumstances, there's stuff that's coming out that we knew in our community from talking, from verbal history, but a lot of other people didn't. Like people didn't know about Black Wall Street. Even some of our own people didn't know about Black Wall Street. But Black Wall Street was the most publicized one, but there were several Black Wall Streets.
It was
every time there's some, a group of successful.
Central Park was a Black Wall Street.
Central Park was a Black Wall Street.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All of those places, man. There's so much. So I just want people to know and to keep in vibe. You don't gotta like everything that we say or do. You don't gotta like the music. Or you don't gotta like the thing because everything ain't for everybody.
Absolutely.
But going forward in the future for the people that's been backing me is, it's the grind, it's the work. That's if I stop doing this, I probably won't exist. I mean, because
I hear you over there.
Because that's what it is. Bars. That's what it is because I mean, iHipHopTV is a vessel that we use. We ain't that with Tracy Morgan say I'm a vessel. So that's what it is. It's a vessel. With the helps of Aladdin 19, Dark Diva, Mad Money Militia comes through, and everybody else that can build on that. Big Wall, and address the culture. That's big, because that's what it needs to be. The culture needs to be addressed. Information needs to be put out there. There's information, especially today with this misinformation going on.
Yeah, a whole heap of it.
This misinformation going on. You're missing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
By like we say, Aladdin 19 got this the saying that I hold to. People are jumping over dollars to get the dimes.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. People, jump over $1 and pick up the dime. Meanwhile, you done walk past 10 dimes. So I mean, so that that's got to stop. People, you got to sit there and open up and check it out. And those people, what's going on, man? This ain't gonna stop. The people in my corner, it's just gonna keep growing. The next phase, you got to wait to see what's coming next, baby. Everything's going next. I have a lot to say. A lot to say. A lot of it, like people say, it's my opinion.
Absolutely. And you're entitled to it.
And I'm
You know what I'm talking
entitled
about?
to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just so that my opinion's backed with a lot of facts
Yeah.
and
Talk about
evidence So and that's what I go by, because that's what we got to go by. If you get out there and fake a bar or fake notes, people are going to see it and recognize it real quick.
That's a
So
fact.
you can't fake what's real and what's not. You got to separate those things, and you got to be able to recognize and understand and apply it and research. Always research. Do your research on stuff.
Yeah.
And but these platforms like this, it's great. When I see somebody doing them, it's great because that's information. We know that's information.
Yeah.
And then you dropping bars on it too behind the scenes, making tracks and everything else. That's our goal, man. That's our goal. We in the building with it. That's our goal. And I pass it on, and we can go on for hours, man. I got stories. We talk. I got stories, man, for some stuff, but I got some people that really should be on this platform addressing the culture because they got information that's really, I think, is important and pertinent to people that going forward, for the future. And maybe should like people get mad at Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson.
Yeah.
He tells the truth.
Yeah.
And people need to wake up when they hear that. That means it's time to get up.
Yeah.
Killer Mike. I don't know if you ever seen that
Come
show.
on, man. Killer Mike needs to run for office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
Killer Mike.
I say that with a grain of salt because when people run for office, they change their viewpoint. I like them in the rawest fashion. You know what I mean? So I'd rather probably keep him where he at, but his mentality, he definitely could run for office. You know what I mean?
And a lot of that is once you get those places, like you hear people talk about secret societies and stuff behind that. Somebody's pushing a button, or somebody's controlling it, like the devil. You make a deal with the devil if you
absolutely.
want to be famous, we can make you famous, and this, that, and the other. And
take a picture like that in that position, doing that. So just in case you try to go against us, we got something on you. You know what I'm saying? That's the narrative. You know what I mean?
Yep. They want to be able. They want to be able to destroy you while you're trying to build something.
Absolutely.
They want to hold it over to you, and that is what we got to stay and you can't, because everything's connected. To get that dollar, everybody needs, and nobody wants to be doing nothing for free. When you work, so you work to earn, but at the same time, in your earnings, you're giving information, you're spreading knowledge, and you're building a legacy to pass on to the future generations.
Ain't that what it's all about?
That's what it's all about. When you write your records and do your music, and your music sells and goes, and once you're gone off this earth, your children have that. Your grandchildren have that.
Legacy.
Everybody else have it. That's what it is. That's what it's about.
That's
to put people in positions. The late Paul Mooney once put it to me to crack me up, but it's the truth. He says, like, if you go to NASA and well, no, it wasn't Paul Mooney. I think it wasn't Paul Mooney. It was the late Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
Okay.
If you go to NASA and pull the curtain back, there's some niggas back there making that stuff work. That's what he said. There's some black people back there making that stuff work. And this come out, and that's just a part of the thing, and we're not, I like to tell people I was raised colorblind.
Yeah.
We don't, color, even though it goes on around you, everybody have prejudices.
Every race.
Everybody has prejudices against each other within the race.
Absolutely.
But it's the racism.
Yeah.
It's the
systemic racism. You know what I'm saying?
Institutional systemic racism that they try to say, oh no, there's no racism. And man, it's written all over the door, man.
Come on,
you can't read the sign race. So we continue to work hard and strive for that without even we're not violent. We're not preaching violence. We're not preaching. No, we're preaching education, respect.
You know what I mean?
Business.
Learn
economics, economic wealth.
Field. Yeah. Yeah.
economic wealth for your families, you know, and
Yeah.
everything else. And
Yeah.
my people's doing their big thing too. That's why I wore this hat and support, you know, and the family, you know, DeMar Hamlin with the Buffalo Bills, man, that's doing his thing, you know, to make it, to build his thing. He got his Chasing Millions product that he started in high school, and he carrying it on. So that's what we want people to do, you know, to start your businesses young, nurture them, go with your friends, you and friends, instead of getting in trouble and doing some dumb stuff. Take that energy, harness it, and you're the product.
Yeah.
You don't need no drug. You don't need
Yeah.
no drugs to
Yeah.
flip. You're
Yeah.
the product.
Yeah.
Flip
Yeah.
the product. If you
Yeah.
can do what you do with that drug, and you can do it with this ink pen, take this ink pen and flip this ink pen, you know, and make $1 million off this ink pen, then sell it and build, and then do something else and build with it. That's all it is building.
Yeah.
And we're descendants of builders. So that's what we do. We got to build.
We literally built this country. So,
We literally built the world.
literally, you know what I
Society
mean?
has its known today, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
and it's facts, you
Yeah.
know.
That's a
For
fact.
somebody to say it's not, because I watch, you know, I'm into that stuff. I watch it in my time. I watch the ancient alien things and
Yeah.
everything else
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything, because that gives me information, that it verifies information that I already know.
That you already know.
And I already
It's
know.
nothing like a good verification, right?
And yeah,
You
it's
know what
just
I'm talking
verification
about?
of that. You know, when they talk about the Sphinx, you know, about 10, 15, that Sphinx is over 25,000 years old,
Yeah.
at least, you know, so that's way before. Those timelines are skirted because they want to keep thing, what they say, undercover, under wraps. But guys like Imhotep for Djoser, that was designing those pyramids back then,
Talk
and all
about
that
it.
stuff. There's not a lot known about him, but he was a brilliant architect, doctor. He did some of the first surgeries on this planet, eye stuff, built pyramids and all that stuff. That was way before crisis time. But you know, I heard somebody talk about it today, that Joe Sears' time was at the time of Joseph's time. You
Yeah.
know, and
I heard that as well.
I don't think so. I think that was long before Joseph.
Yeah.
That was long before Joseph. You know.
But you never really know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It's all taking it and interpreting it to make you understand what you already know, man. Because it's really in our DNA. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And you speak about empowering, um, uplifting the community in such a dope way.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you are coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
We're
yes,
bringing, our dope platforms together, you know what I'm
yes.
saying, with the Address the Culture series that we doing with pstock and Big Wall.
And
Talk
big
about
wall.
that, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, and the plans and the vision that we have for our Address the Culture series that's going to be everywhere, include
everywhere.
iHipHopTV, Address the Culture, and we cooking up some stuff behind
We
the
we
scenes, you know
we
what I'm
cooking
talking
it
about?
up. We making it happen.
We
You
over here
know,
cooking, you know what I'm
we
talking about?
making it
Talk about
happen, man. What Big Wall came through iHipHop, and it was like the energy. It was like electric. I'm
Yeah.
like, man,
Lightning in a bottle.
yeah, it was like electric. I'm like, wow, we gotta go. And then when we talked, the more we talked, and we talked about the culture, and that name, Address the Culture, is perfect because that's what we do. When he came up with that one, that's a good one. And support it, Address the Culture, support Big Wall and these platforms, because that's what they're there for, to be informative, to be entertaining. You know, it's not always going to make you happy. It's not always going to make you sad. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you
Yeah.
angry, because we just want people to understand that you are the mathematics of this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, people are the mathematics of this whole thing,
Yeah.
and being together is what is right now. Like, we're like this. There ain't none of this, no unity, none. You
Yeah.
know, we're like that,
Yeah.
and that's why we lose. You know, and
Yeah.
that's why we fail.
Well, we
And
definitely changing that narrative because
yes,
we putting it
yes,
together, man. You know what I
and we're
mean?
gonna put it together, and we're gonna bring it together. We're gonna bring some great guests on board to have some information, some guests that that been out there and know things that you might not know. See,
Yeah.
everybody, I mean, I understand you see the main people, the figureheads and everything else, but I just tell people like that. There's always people behind the people. There's always people beside the people. There's always people, around that person that's making that person work, because
absolutely,
you got to know that. You got to understand that. If not, you're like watching movies and television shows and believing that to be true, even though they run a disclaimer that it's not true.
Yeah.
The names and identities been changed or whatever
To
they
protect,
to
protect the innocent or the guilty. You know what I'm
to
talking
protect our feelings. To protect our feelings. That's what I see. But hey, man, with addressing the culture and this platform, I want us to be able to reach the global markets with the information. The world is the borderless with the internet. When they came out with the internet, the world became borderless. Okay, it made the world smaller. So stuff that's picking up, stuff that happens in the Shy can be watched in Belgium or Timbuktu. Yeah, right there in real time, live action. So that you got to get with it, and we want to spread the culture and because there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and we want to dispel that stuff. And we just want people to be empowered and to feel better and to learn and lesson. And also, check out the music, man. The music and the movies and the films and the talent that is there. Talent comes in all forms.
That's a fact.
And this vision of light here, this form right here, with Big Wall, pstock, iHipHopTV, and Address the Culture. It's like culture now. It's like that. It's like culture now.
And I think we're gonna have a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? You coming with your perspective and me coming with mine from two different viewpoints that have a common ground. It's unique. You know what I mean?
That makes it.
Absolutely.
That makes it. There's some stuff that you're going to make me understand and see, and there's some stuff that I might put out there that you understand and see, but you just didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you didn't know, or other people didn't know, because there's stuff. And I'm telling you, I go back, like I said, I've been around the world. I remember in Singapore one time. We was in Singapore, okay, and we stumbled on an international DJ that was televised throughout Asia, right? So I was in the service. I was in the Navy at this time, right? So to keep living, I had to get out the States. So out of here, because I was getting bogged down with this Pittsburgh thing. Right after K. Leroy Irvis and that stuff failed, I said I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
I quit.
I need a new scenery.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
and I dropped out of college and I joined the service, and that's the travel, and it was cool. And it was the best paid vacation in the world until the Gulf War started, right?
Oh yeah, it ain't that much fun in the world.
No, but the whole time we dealt with music.
There
was people that got together from different places that did bands.
Music is a language. So
it's a language.
It breaks barriers. You know what I mean?
That's what it does. That's what it does. And I didn't, and I did my time, but I stayed with music. I stayed in touch.
Yeah.
We always kept a close thing and evolved. And that gives me more. I'm a person, I've been a filmmaker and writer. I write. And the better the writer, the backyard stories is what we need to put out there.
Yeah.
Everybody's stories, because you have more detail.
Yeah.
You know about that.
Yeah.
So you can bring the detail to make it more realistic.
Yeah.
That's why the stuff that 50's putting out there with Power and Raising Cane and now BMF.
Shouts out to 50. Super dope.
That stuff is 50, but 50's smart, because 50 will take something that ain't his and make it his.
Oh yeah.
And make a killing on it.
Oh yeah. That's the game,
hip-hop.
though. That's
hip-hop.
Man.
That's what hip-hop is.
Like go talk to James Brown and see how he feel. Hip hop was started off of his break beats. That break beat from James Brown, that's what started. That's a part of hip hop
history.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So that was what hip hop was. That's what I was trying to tell people. You take something that belong to somebody else and make it your own.
And make it your own.
And the reason why it was being because they wouldn't give you that. You
Yeah.
couldn't get that. So
Yeah.
you had to take something that was somebody else's, put that mustard on it, and
it
spin
add that edge to it. It adds that street element, and then you add in the struggle.
Yep.
Look, like it's nothing. It's nothing but greatness that came from it, and it comes in the culture. And we're gonna address it, man. Me and pstock, we are coming together with our Address the Culture version, our series. You know what I mean? Well, we're gonna tap in. We're gonna talk to so many artists. We're gonna talk to some people you know and some people you need to know. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Some people they need to know.
Yeah. So we are locked in. You know what I'm saying? We finna make a movie. Yeah.
Stay tuned on iHipHopTV.
Yeah.
On Address the Culture and Big Wall.
Yeah.
You know, because it's coming. pstock, Big Wall, Addressing the Culture. You know, from all angles.
Yeah, in a major way. I want to thank you for coming through. You know what I'm saying? You brought me on your platform. You know what I'm saying? So we had to come together on my platform, and now it's our platform. You know what I'm saying? We rolling in such a dope way, man. Your energy is amazing. Come on, man.
We're gonna make it go. I just want to bring it out there, and there's some stories that you're gonna hear from me, some true stories. And I'll bring some people on that can verify it.
Yeah,
you know, that the verifications, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, but it's all positive.
Yeah,
we want everything to be positive outcome. We're not trying to offend anybody.
Nah,
we're not trying to make anybody upset. We deal with truth, facts, culture, and we have fun. You know, and while we create music.
Yeah,
movies, projects, everything. You never know. You got to stay tuned.
Man, what he said, we're going to do all of the above, but most important, we're going to address the culture. You already know the vibes.
The culture.
That's a fact.
The culture, for real.
Big homie, I know time is something that we can't get back, so I appreciate you coming through and giving me some of yours, man.
Appreciate you, Big Wall, man. Anytime, man. I can't wait. When we kick off, man, y'all got to be there.
You already know the vibe.
Big Wall, Address the Culture, iHipHopTV. And a big shout out to Aladdin 19 because they'll be behind the scenes addressing the culture with us.
That's a fact. You already know the vibes. And
also, I just want to put this out here. You definitely want to, coming up December 4th, you know, check iHipHopTV. There's a can't miss. This is a once in a lifetime situation with all these grandmasters coming together that were grandmasters under the late grandmaster Angel Cabales and the Serato Eskrima. And it's gonna be, you're gonna see some stuff that you think
you ain't never seen. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, there's some stuff on here that ain't never been seen. I'm talking about getting cut, healing it right in front of your face. If you thought Bruce Leroy caught bullets and had that glow, you know what I'm talking about? This is that type of time.
The real. It's the real. And it's coming up December 4th. Stay tuned. Check out Big Wall, Address the Culture, iHipHopTV for details. You know, you hit me up on any of the social media platforms, and you'll see the poster floating around there with all these grandmasters on there. It's great. And hip hop, remember, we started out hip hop martial law.
Yeah.
So it's full circle again, and the hip hop part's been striving. Now the martial law is coming in.
Yeah.
Martial artists and everybody's coming in and supporting, you know, a big shout out to Aladdin. This is gonna be huge. Like I said, once in a lifetime event that's happening that you might not get a chance to see at that point, from that viewpoint at that level.
Yeah.
We're gonna make streams available. There's gonna be some streams, so definitely want to check it out. You know, for sure. That's coming up.
It's a whole lot. Man, it's good. It's a whole lot going on. That's a very important event. And, you know, we're going to be tapped in, and we're going to keep everybody in tune and address the culture like we always do.
Yep. December 4th.
Yeah.
Twin Dragons Academy.
Yeah.
You know, it's going down right there. So if you're in the area, be there. You know, be there. You know, you get some lessons too.
Talk about
health, life, health, and wealth. what we're going to talk about on Addressing the Culture.
That's a fact.
Get the
you
health
already
together.
know the vibes. And like I always say, your culture makes you who you are. So make sure they respect it. We're going to catch you on the next episode. We out of here.
Peace.
64 boy.
Scratch. Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk